3 from the civics portion, that is the state government from the social studies book, that you will get in page 216. Today, here in this chapter, we will be studying about the state government. How does the state government run? Okay, what are the parts, or who are those who are running the state government? Now, all of us in the last chapter we have studied about democracy. Yes, now democracy, how does democracy run, all this and that. Now here we will be studying about central government and the state government. In a democracy we find that there are two types of government, that is the state government and another one is the central government. By the word central government, everyone knows that the central government is the government that runs from the capital city of our country, that is the parliament. Another form of government we have in a democratic form of government, that is the state government. Now, in which state we all are? We all are in the state of Assam. Yes. Now, how does the state of Assam is running? Who is the person responsible for running the state government? Now, here in this chapter, we will be studying in details about those who runs the state government. First of all, let's see about the powers of the state government. Now, the state government is found in a federal type of government. What is federal? All of us, we know that we have two forms of government. One is the unitary form of government and another one is the federal form of government. Now, state government can exist in a federal form of government where two forms of government exist, that is the central government and the state government. Now here, let's see about the division of powers in the country now. Now, division of powers here is divided into three types. What are those lists? Number one is the union list, means all in one country, that is the union list. Another one is the state list. And the last but not the least is the concurrent list. The concurrent list is neither the central or the state responsible for it. Both of them works together in a concurrent list. Now here, let's go in detail about the state legislature. Now, before going to the state legislature, all of us, we have to know what is legislature first of all. Okay, now legislature is here, legislature, then legislature, executive and judiciary. These are the three forms of government. Legislature, the work of the legislature is to form. Okay, now next is the execute. Execute means to work out. And thirdly, the third organ of the government is the judiciary, that is the to judge. Okay, when these meanings of these three words will be clear to you, you will come to know what are the words. Now, by the word legislature means to form. Okay, how is the government formed? Now, legislative word means how does the government mix up the parliament, or means what is the existing feature of the government. Now, in a state legislature, we find that there are two types. One is bicameral and another one is the unicameral. Okay, in a state legislature. Now, in a state legislature, in a bicameral legislature, we find that there are two houses. One is the Legislative Council and another one is the Legislative Assembly. Now in another one, that is the unicameral legislature, we find that there is only one form of house, and that house is the Legislative Assembly. Okay, these are the three forms of houses, means two forms of houses in a state level parliament, we can say, or we can say the state government. We have three. We have two in some states, and in some states we have one house. Next, we will be studying about the Legislative Assembly, means the assembly which is formed to work or to form the state. Now, here this Legislative Assembly comprises of all the MLAs together from different parts of the state. The maximum number of MLAs should not exist more than 500, and it should not be less than 60 members in a state legislative assembly. Now let's see what are the qualifications, means what are the things or what are the personality should exist in order to become an MLA. Okay, first of all, he must be a citizen of India. Okay, and he should not be less than 25 years of age. Okay, all of us, we know that in order to become an MLA, he should be mature enough, that he should have the he should have the quality to run the state. So that for that reason we find that he should not be less than 25 years of age. Another one is that he should not work under any government service or any personnel of its own. Okay, he should not have any other job. Means if he continues to do his own work rather than after becoming an MLA, then his work as an MLA might be in a worst way, or we can say that he might not focus on his work. For that reason, the government has fixed a condition that he should not hold any kind of office rather than his MLA position. Another one is that he should be a sound mental health, means he should be physically fit, okay, to become an MLA. Now, what are the terms? Terms means here we find it how long he can remain as an MLA in the government. The term of an MLA is 5 years. Every MLA used to be changed after every 5 years, that is when elections are being conducted. Now let's see what are the officers here in the state legislative assemblies. Now first of all, we find that there is the speaker, another one is the deputy speaker, and we find that all these assemblies are performed under the speaker of the state legislative assembly. These are the functions. What is happening means in the central level we have the Indian Parliament. Just like that we have in the state level the state legislative assembly which runs within a state. Okay, now let's go next to the legislative council here. This is the legislative council. What is the legislative council means? Who are those that forming the state legislative assembly? Now the strength means the capacity of the state legislative assembly should be 1/3 of the size of the legislative the strength of the legislative council. The council is another one and the assembly is another one. Okay, the council means the ministers together form the council. Assembly is the name of the house. Okay, assembly is the house, whereas the councils are the members of the assemblies. Now the strength of the legislative council should not be more than 1/3 of the legislative assembly of the state. And here, who are those members? They are the local self-governing people, bodies, the teachers and the university graduates. These are the ones. Here, let's see what are the qualification or needed terms needed to become the member of the Legislative Council. Now the term is 30 years. He must not be less than 30 years. And term, as usual, it should be 5 years. Let's see the another officers that runs the state government. Let's go to the state executive, who means what are the things that are being discussed in the state legislative assembly along with the legislative council has to be carried out within the state by someone. Yes, if they will have a discussion and the work will not be carried out, what is the use of having an assembly? Yes. Now, in order to work out what is being discussed in the assembly, we have the state executive, okay, who works out here. Executive means to work out what is being discussed in the legislature. Now, here in the state executive, we find that here is the important one. We have the chief minister. In common sense, every state has its own chief minister. Another one is the governor, okay, that runs the state. We find that here the governor is regarded to be the head of a state. What is the responsibility? Now, we find that although the governor is the head of the state, we find that the chief minister is there within the state who is the actual runner of that particular state. Governor, in one sense, we have is being elected by the president for different states for a term of 5 years. He used to be changed after every 5 years. The chief minister usually used to be also changed within every 5 years. But we find that in every state we have different chief ministers. But we find that this governor is being elected or selected by the president. In some cases, we find that one governor runs many different states. For example, the governor of Assam is not different. Means there is one governor for all the northeastern states of India. Am I clear now? Now here, let's see about the qualification. As usual, the governor also, he must be an Indian citizen, okay. He should not be less than 35 years and he must not be a member of any house of the parliament. Means this governor should not be a member of any house of the parliament, whether it might be the parliament or the state legislative assembly. Another one is that he should not hold any kind of office rather than his position. Same as usual before, what is required to become an MLA also. Another one is who elects now the governor. The governor is elected by the president, okay, for the terms of 5 years, and he can be removed at any terms. Now, what are the powers of and who means what is the work of the governor now? He has executive power, means to work out. Discriminatory powers, he has some special power. Legislative means he has some powers to form within the state. Financial power means regarding the treasury of the state, means how the money should be used within the state. Another one is judicial power. Sometimes the governor is also given the judicial power. Judicial power means how to judge people when some bad things happen. Let's go in detail now. Executive power means he has to see to the chief minister working within the state. He has to see, means his work is to look after the state under the banner of the chief minister. Discriminatory power means if any kinds of emergency situation arises within a state, this governor can take a quick decision, just like the parliament in the central government. As although the prime minister is the head of the country, we find that this president has the right to take quick decision in terms of emergency. Now, in the state level, we find that this governor has those power which is vested as similar with that of the prime minister in the state. President in the state level. Legislative power. Now, this governor can means he has the right to inaugurate the sessions in the state legislative assembly. And another one is the financial power. The financial power means no bill can be passed in the state legislative assembly without the recommendation or the sign of the governor. Okay. Next we have the judicial power. Let's see the judicial power means this governor has the right to punish anybody within the state if he finds that those person is not given any judgment. Okay, the accused can be punished by the governor. After the governor, let's go to the chief minister and the council of ministers. Now the chief ministers is appointed. Okay, how is the chief minister appointed? During election, we find that those party which get the majority within the state, that party's president is elected as the chief minister of the state. He has to be appointed along with other council of ministers from his party. This is what. Let's go to the powers and functions. Here in detail, when you look into your book, you have some powers here. Number 1 is to direct the ministry and determine its policy. Means he has to see whether his ministers are working properly in their respective field within the state. Another one is to supervise the administration of the state. Means he has the right, okay, to say whether what is good for the state or we can say what is bad for the state. He has the right to take any kinds of decision. To allocate, reallocate and take back portfolios from his or her minister. Means this chief minister has the right, or we can say that he has the full power within his council of ministers. But last but not the least, to coordinate the workings of this. Means to coordinate means to join together of all the ministers to work for the fulfillment of the people in short form, or we can say in an easy way. Let's go to council of ministers. The functions of the state governments takes place through various departments. Yes, we know that within a state we have different departments. Yes, now these departments have different ministers of their own. Okay, have different ministers of their own. Now these ministers works, some particular ministers look after their own respective departments within the state so that their functions can be properly or smoothly run out. Okay, the council of ministers, and these ministers are the one, if any necessary situation arises that there should be changes made in different departments, that these ministers are responsible to take up those ideas, or we can say those advices in the state legislative assembly to be accepted by the state government. These are all, okay, which runs the state. First of all, we have the state government, the state legislature, that is the formation one. Another one is the state assembly, means the formation of the council of ministers within the state. Another one is the legislative council, means the council of ministers along with the chief ministers and the governor. And the state executive means who are those rocking out. The same thing means these ministers are also responsible to the state executive. Who are those? They are the chief ministers and the council of ministers along with the governor. By this, we find it. I hope that this chapter is clear to you, and we'll be moving out next towards. In the next chapter, we'll be studying about the state government. How does the state government runs? Okay. With this, I'll end this chapter here with the council of ministers. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Stay home, stay safe.
Do it for self.
Do it for your family. Do it for India.
Let's break the chain of COVID-19.
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद. हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद.
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद.